Alright everybody, the compound has dried. I got a little sidetracked, so it's been a couple days, so you can imagine it's all rock hard right now, which is going to make it a little more difficult to sand, but it'll come out okay. So it's all dried all the way up and down the length of the foregrip, covering the entire seam and then some. So we are going to take some 100 grit sandpaper, so it's still rough. We don't want it fine sandpaper for the first pass over, because all of the stuff we're going to sand off is going to fill up all the grooves in this, and we won't be able to do anything if we have fine sandpaper. So we're just going to take this and sand right over. Now you want to pay close attention to where you're sanding the back part, where we took off that one ridge from the back to try to hopefully make it smooth and rounded. You don't want to sand too deep down in there, otherwise you're going to mess that part up. So take your time for this back part and try to keep it rounded. Not bad so far. You can see on the back here how we've done a decent job of sanding it down. You can tell because the sandpaper is pretty much shot right now on one side. But from the back here, you can see how it's pretty decently rounded. It goes over consistently. You don't have a whole lot of bumps and grooves there from where we sanded that. We dremeled that one back part off. The one screw hole that isn't going to be in use anymore because the rail's just going to be on the front is filled up with that compound also, and that'll be able to be painted over. So it's nice and smooth and sanded there. We haven't done the sides or anything yet, we're just working on the flat surface. This is where the seam for the cut is, and we're still roughly going over that, but it's, let's see, yeah, you can see it's pretty much fairly smooth there. You can't really see the line anymore. It's not done yet, even though it's pretty smooth to the touch. We're going to go over all of this again after we're done sanding with one really thin layer of that compound again, just to fill up any little grooves, dips, whatever you want to call them, so that tomorrow evening when we sand it again, it will be completely straight and flush, and you won't be able to see the seam at all. Now you're going to want to use the sandpaper, obviously, and go along all of the edges and in all the little grooves and nooks and everything. In the hard to reach places, or the really highly detailed ones, you can bust out your Dremel and get those also. So, yep, get to work. Alright, I just finished sanding down the second half of the foregrip. Looks pretty good. You can definitely see where the compound filled in a lot of the big gaps that were in there from dremeling, and now that it's all pretty smooth. There's still a couple little edges and ridges in the seam, and we're going to go over that, like I said earlier, with a thin little layer of the compound, just to make sure that all of those little gaps get filled in. But just for the heck of it right now, I'm going to spray paint one of the halves just so you could see what the difference would be like without getting the second layer of the compound on it. So I'll do that right now. Okay, I just hit one of the foregrip halves in its current condition with a rough coat of spray paint, just flat black. You could see without the second coat of spray paint on and stuff. So just as with the first coat, you can see the little areas of the foregrip where it really does need a second or third coat to cover all that stuff up. But you can see underneath where there's still the difference in texture from where it was sanded a little more and not. But disregard that because that'll all be covered up with paint. We still need to clean up all of the air vent holes a little bit. But I'm just looking for the seam right now. The seam should be right around this area. This is just with one layer of the compound. We haven't gone over it a second time yet. I just wanted to spray paint it black because in spray painting it you can actually see how it actually does need that second coat of the sculpting compound on it to smooth everything out. Without it, you would end up with this. You know, it looks good, but you can still definitely see the areas where there's the difference in texture of the actual material underneath. So we're gonna go over that one more time with the compound, and I will show you afterwards. But currently, if you were to put the rail on it, this is the foregrip that Badger Boy asked for. Once this is all finished up, and these little splatters of paint that came on kind of thick will be cleaned up, and you can see that there isn't really a big noticeable seam in the foregrip or anything. For the most part, it looks like one continuous piece, and it's still pretty strong and durable and all that stuff, and it looks better in my opinion, but we still have a little bit more work to do, so I will post that for you guys tomorrow.